Hello there. Hello and good morning. A beautiful, cool morning here in Gilbert, Arizona. Really enjoy these mornings when I can get outside and have some coffee, spend a little time with you outdoors. Getting to be the nice time of year here. So, some fun stuff to share today that came out of a conversation with a longtime friend and client, and it's about creation. And we're working together. I'm supporting him in launching, well, essentially his coaching business and an offer. He's looking to integrate being into his work, his particular area of passion, are entrepreneur fathers, and one of the things I'm committed to is supporting coaches who are interested in working at the level of being and integrating being in their practice. So we're basically taking the curriculum from my Creating Your Extraordinary Life experience and installing it in him and embedding it within some work he's doing for his target audience. So that's the context of what we're doing. And what came out of the conversation yesterday was, I'll give you the punchline first, was his surprise that the way I create in 2022 wasn't always the way I created. You see, when I'm working with folks these days, more often than not, more likely than not, what I am pointing them to is the degree to which they can create with more ease, with less stress, with less like thinking about it and mulling it over, right? When I get on and do these lives, I don't have a script. I have a little thing of note cards and I write an idea for a topic and I just speak. What I need to share shows up, just kind of flows out of me. The same is true when I'm writing copy for a group of entrepreneurs I'm looking to run a program for. I went to a coffee shop this last weekend and I just knew that I would sit down and it would all come out. If I'm doing a program or a webinar, I don't spend a lot of time, hey, good morning, Del. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. I just create. Right? Creation is a moment by moment production. But that's a way of being. And here's what came out in the conversation yesterday. For me, creation used to be something that required work, that required planning, that required lists. A lot of people don't know this. I don't have task lists. I don't use task lists. There are things I'm working on, and I have meetings scheduled throughout the day, like with my one-on-one clients and my group programs. But other than that, I know in whatever moment I'm in what I'm supposed to be creating. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to do this now. I'm supposed to do this now. So there's projects I'm working on, but there's no project plan. There's no master plan. There's no roadmap. There's what is it we're moving towards, and then I create. And it's very easeful. It's a lot of fun. One of the comments I said to my client yesterday was, because he was trying to kind of calibrate on how much do I work and how many can you have of this and how many of that. I said, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever I do energizes me. Everything that I'm creating produces more energy than I put into it. I get to the end of the day with more energy than I started with. And you know, he's sort of scratching his head because he has lists and plans and trying to map stuff out. And he's like, man, I just don't know how you do that. I wish I was like that. And at some point I said something like, well, you can create yourself in life that way as well. And he said, well, no, I'm not wired that way. And I said, do you think I've always been this way? And he said, well, yeah, of course. Man, did I laugh. So I'll tell you a funny story. Gosh, this had to be, let's say 15, 17 years ago, maybe. I was in my house in Boulder. I was married to my first wife. I was running my company. And for years I'd had the practice of carrying around with me and writing in these lab notebooks. They're called an A5 is the size, and they're black with a hard cover. I love these notebooks. And that's where I did all my note-taking from meetings, my thinking, my capturing of thoughts, my to-dos. At all times, I would have 3 different colored pens. I had a red, a blue, and a black. And then I'd have some tape flags with me. And I had this whole system of taking notes, indexing them at the top with the date and sort of what was on the page so I could find anything anywhere. I can go back to notebooks from a year ago and, find the date, and they were all organized and numbered. It's pretty sophisticated, pretty slick little system. And I distinctly remember one day I'm sitting in my office, and, if this is the desk where I'm looking at you, over to the left of me, a few feet away is a closet. It was one of those double door closets, so it's a double closet. And the closet was open, and you know how you have like where you hang all the clothes? Well, this was all my work stuff, so there are shelves in there, but above where you do the hanging, there's the shelves that are built in, and there were 2 shelves in there, and I remember glancing over, and they were bowed from the weight of all of the A5 notebooks that had been accumulated on them. 2 to 3 notebooks a month for, I don't know, 5, 7, maybe more years, 8 years were sitting in there. And I remember looking and saying, well, what the hell is that? That's ridiculous. What am I keeping that there for? I don't ever go back to those. And more importantly, the insight that appeared, that showed up for me was, well, everything in there is in here and here. It's already in here. Why do I got to keep that around? What am I going to go digging through that stuff? I got up, and I don't know how many trips it took me, but it took a couple trips. I started taking the notebooks out to the trash. I don't think we even had recycling then in Boulder. Took them out to the trash, dumped them all in the trash, took the stack of brand new unused notebooks that I had, threw those in the trash, and I'm done taking notes. I'm going to experience life moment by moment. And man, I can't tell you the ease that brings. And that's just part of it. That's just one little glimpse into the window of the human being formerly known as Townsend. It's fascinating. I recently reconnected with a gentleman I hadn't seen for about 11 years. I'll do another live on that, a really cool story. And whenever I connect with somebody from the past, it's always an interesting experience. I recently had one of my business partners from the business that I built. One of the partners I brought in, he about 6 months ago went through my Creating Your Extraordinary Life experience, the men's group work that I do. And there was a little bit of thinking, angst, anxiety, right? Like he knew me when, right? I wasn't always the super chill, kicking back, drinking coffee. It's all about being Guy. I was pretty intense. I took things really seriously. I thought that if I didn't have a plan for it, if I didn't map it out, if I didn't have a precision calculated project plan, it wasn't going to happen. I worried about all little details. I didn't realize you could create moment by moment, and that whatever you needed would be provided for you. And again, this is all sparking from the conversation I had with a client yesterday, because I forget, right? I forget that not only I wasn't always this way of being, this is a created way of being. All ways of being are created, right? Oh, I was going to tell you this. When I bump into people from my past, what pings is, oh, they know me when I was like that. What are they going to think of how I'm like this? They're going to think I'm inauthentic. They're going to think I've like made up this character, that I'm putting on a show. Well, guess what? You ready? I am. I have made up this character. I am putting on a show. I am putting on an act. And I was back then too. I just thought it was the real me, or I thought that's who I am. Whoever you're being, you're making up, you're creating, and you have the power to create it any other way. So it was so funny to like get this ping of like, ooh, they're gonna find out that I've switched modes or something like that, right? I know you guys watching are getting this and thinking like, oh yeah, after I went to this conference or done this work or started coaching, whatever, those people, they didn't know me like this. What are they gonna think? Well, they're gonna think you got an upgrade, and they're gonna be envious. This guy that I connected with yesterday, oh man, what a beautiful soul. He said, how did all this happen? Like this, like what's going on with me? I said, I don't know, man. It just happened over a period of time with a lot of intention and a lot of, I don't want this, I want that. And an intentional choice to create this. Everything about me is created. Everything about my demeanor, everything about how I speak, everything about how I think, everything about how I create when I'm creating. It's all created. It's all manufactured. I'm not embarrassed of it. Who's that guy think he is? I don't know. Whoever he thinks he is. Oh, this is what he said. He said, oh, I can't remember the word. Oh, yeah, he goes, it's intoxicating. Like his idea about where I was at was intoxicating. I said, good. That's what I'm going for. I want somebody to look at this and go, man, that looks fun. It is. And you can have it too. You can create it too. Wherever you're at, you're creating. Mr. McGovern, good morning, sir. Wherever you're at, you've created it, which means you could create it differently. Yeah, I could tell lots of funny stories about, I would say the old Townsend, but that was only the previous version of Townsend. There's been lots of versions of Townsend. All right. The one thing that's been consistent is my belief and desire that it is not only possible, but it is my right to reinvent myself again and again. Who knows what I'll do in 10 years, right? Who knows what I'll do in 5 years? I'll create something different. But we get this idea that our identity is fixed and sacred, and we have to maintain it. Good morning, Oleg. And we have to be consistent with it. Our greatest fear is somebody to say, you're not being yourself. Oh, yeah? That's all I'm being, baby. So, a couple takeaways. Know that this isn't how I was born. This isn't how I was 5 years ago. Right? This is how I am now, and it's not how I'm going to be at some other point. What that means is whatever you see here or anywhere or in anybody is accessible for you. I'll tell you one last funny story about me. Not a lot of people know this. So if you're watching till the end, well, you get some bonus fun facts here. I was born Townsend Howard Wardlaw. That's my full legal name. Townsend Howard Clark Wardlaw, actually. I have a second middle name, a family name. Thank you, Oleg. Going off to school, my mom had the idea, I think rightfully so, that Townsend might either get a lot of fun made of him, right? This was back in the days when, we made fun of other kids and there was bullies and stuff like that. I know that none of that exists today. Or it'd be kind of shortened to like Townie or something. She didn't want that. Good morning, Judy. And so she called me Todd. I went by Todd. Right? This wasn't Townsend. This was Todd. So elementary school, middle school, high school, Todd. Everybody knew me as Todd. My best friend from high school, Rob Leonard, he didn't call me Townsend, he calls me Todd. Right? My ex-wife still calls me Todd. On or about when I was 28 or 29. Thank you so much, Judy. That's kind of you. I was working in sales and doing a lot of cold calling. So you would cold call people and say, "Hey, this is Todd with AT&T or whoever I was working for. Is this Ted? No, no, Todd. Tom?" Nobody ever seemed to be able to get it right. So one day I said, "You know what? I'm gonna dust off. Hello, Ayub. I'm gonna dust off my real name. I'm gonna try Townsend." So I started calling. "Yeah, this is Townsend from AT&T." Now the funny part was, most people still didn't hear me. "Was this Ted? No, Townsend. Tom? No, Townsend." It doesn't matter. Anyway, I started using Townsend professionally. So it became this like professional persona. At work, I was Townsend. In my personal life, I was Todd. It's funny, people who knew me as Todd think they're like catching me or busting me. Like, "Oh, wait, Todd," like they know something nobody else knows. Like I pull the fast one on people, but they got me. Even your name is made up. You could call yourself something tomorrow, and that wouldn't be inauthentic. That would be creation. You'd be creating whatever you want. Think about that. Your name was given to you, put upon you, chosen for you, right? And everybody else is sort of waiting to catch you in some sort of inauthenticity. And we feel like there was a time I would feel embarrassed, little twangs of embarrassment, when like there'd be a Townsend and a Todd person in the same room. Like, uh-oh, what if they start talking to each other? There was a time when I started coaching when I'm like, well, what about when people knew me as the sales guru and the process guy and the technology and the Salesforce guy and like, what are they gonna think of this coachy stuff, right? All made up. All made up by me that there's a problem with it. It'd be like, I decided to dress one way. Oh, that's another one. Tracksuits, right? I used to have closets full of suits. Expensive shoes. I wouldn't buy a pair of shoes if it wasn't $300, $400. I had shoe trees in them, right? Because if you got the shoes, you don't want them to wear out, apparently. I don't know what the hell that's all about. Shoe trees, in my mind, are the sign of a civilization in decline. That's what I say. Anyway, I would invite you on this beautiful morning to take a look at where this false imperative for consistency and authenticity is keeping you from the life that you want. This idea that how you are is how you are. No, how you are is how you have created yourself to be. At some point, somebody told you you need to be this way. You picked up the mantle and kept it going. However you are in this moment, you are choosing to be. If you're bitter, you're choosing that. If you're unhappy, you're choosing that. You're recreating it. It doesn't exist on its own. If you're happy, if you're joyful, if you're fun-loving, you can create yourself however you want. You can wake up tomorrow and call yourself something else. Prince turned his name into a symbol. May he rest in peace. All right. Hope this has been at least. Know this. This is made up. If you enjoy listening to me, watching me, hearing me, it's all made up intentionally and with the intention to serve. But there's nothing I'm doing, nothing I got, you don't have the capacity to do. How's that for a Tuesday? Have an amazing day. Enjoy. Much love.